Yesterday, there was an attempted assassination on former President Donald Trump. Those are words that I never thought I'd say on this channel. Now, we are going to be looking at some of the technical aspects of the shot, why the shooter potentially missed. So let's jump into the details we know thus far. Now, it appears the shooter was a crackhead and a meth addict by looking at his photo. Now, initial reports are the shooter was shooting an AR-15 type rifle. That is not an assault rifle, as the media has been telling us. AR stands for Armalite, but that is semantics at this point in time. The shot was believed to be about 130 yards. Now, you can clearly hear in the video that everybody's probably seen at this point in time that there's about 3 or 4 shots.
Take a look at what happened.
That crack off initially, which I do believe is our shooter, and then pretty much immediately while President Trump is being dived on by Secret Service agents, and got to take my hats off to those guys in the firing line to jump on somebody who's just been shot at. Okay, so the shots go off, Trump like kind of ducks his head, touches his ear, notices the blood, and immediately he's like swarmed by the Secret Service guys. So hats off to those guys, pretty freaking remarkable. Then you almost immediately hear a few follow-up shots. And that is the Secret Service snipers that have killed this gunman. Now, looking at their rifle, they're shooting Accuracy International rifles. Looks like they're running Night Force ATAC R scopes or attacker scopes, as they're also known as, with Raptor units on the top, which is basically like an integrated ballistic rangefinder module. Now, we're not quite sure on which roof the sniper was that returned fire. However, we do know where President Trump was and where the shooter was. So if we look at this in our sort of high-tech recreation software here from our lovely friends at Google. And by the way, when I typed in this morning when I woke up, President Trump assassination, like I had to type in the entire phrase for Google to start giving me suggestions, which, you know, take that for what it is. So President Trump standing in this field over here, okay, and the shooter was on this roof. Now, there's also reports of guys that have been telling police, like, hey, we see somebody climbing up a roof with a rifle, and the police kind of didn't know what to do. He was perhaps on the back slope and they couldn't see it, but the fact that there were reports about that and they didn't pull Trump off the stage is alarming, to say the least. If we take our little ruler tool here and we measure the shot, it's about a 125 meter shot or about a 130 yard shot. Now you might ask yourself, Pete, how do you miss a 130 yard shot? Now, by the looks of the shooter, he's not very athletic, okay? Chances are he's out of breath as he gets to the top of that roof. We don't know. He was potentially just shooting like hard on hard surface. So when we teach shooting, we always show you like techniques to get stable. He was probably very unstable in a frame of mind too, because realistically going into this, he knew there was only one way out of this. He was gonna die during this process. So I'm thinking he rushed the shot. It's interesting that he went for a headshot. Potentially he wobbled a lot. Now, it is a 130 meter shot, which is not the most difficult shot in the world. But if you're not a trained shooter and you've gone into this in a very unstable state, obviously knowing what the potential outcome of this is going to be, chances are he is wobbling all over the show. Now, I myself shoot a hell of a lot. We compete in various different kinds of matches. And not too long ago at a hunt, I kind of had a similar scenario to this, where I basically had a few seconds to pop up onto a rock and take an unsupported shot at about 300 yards. And I missed that shot, and I shoot a ton. So it's not inconceivable that he missed that shot. Absolutely mind-blowing that he clipped his ear. It doesn't get much closer than that, guys. Unfortunately, the bullet did, or one of the bullets that was fired did strike somebody in the head, and that person is deceased. So condolences out to that family now and to everybody affected by this event. There is a GoFundMe, and that's kind of the point of this video, obviously to discuss the technical aspects. But if you want to contribute to this, the first link down below this video is going to be to that GoFundMe to support the people affected by the shooting. Now, we're not quite sure which one of these buildings the Secret Service shooters fired back from. I'm assuming it's going to be one of these buildings, which makes it about a 160 yard shot. So not a crazy shot where you'd need like a ballistic rangefinder. There also appears to be a water tower in the background here. Interesting that there wasn't a counter sniper on that. And in fact, if you look at this kind of area, there are so many roofs, okay, in this vicinity where, you know, you could easily make a shot because you have line of sight from so many different aspects. And the fact that the Secret Service didn't have people on these buildings here is absolutely nuts. And that is very alarming to me. 100% from this watchtower over here, you would have had a shot at him. If you even, guys, look, you know, we make 1,000-yard shots relatively often on this channel. In fact, I would argue it's almost boring with modern cartridges and stuff. If we take these buildings here at the back and we draw a line from where Trump was standing, you could sneak a bullet in from that roof over there and it would be basically a 500-meter shot. And if you're shooting center mass with a modern cartridge like a 308 or something like that, that's not a very difficult shot to make. There obviously was some wind here, but at the 130-yard distance that he was taking that shot, there won't be enough wind to blow you off target, especially shooting an AR platform, which was likely chambered in 223 or 556. That bullet is so incredibly fast over that small distance that it will basically not even drift in the wind. So 100% he would have missed as a result of basically just wobbling on target, and thank freaking goodness he did, because I don't know what the repercussions would have been had he actually made the shot. Absolutely nuts. Another thing to touch on here is he was wearing, and I wasn't sure if I was going to mention this in the video, he was wearing a Demolition Ranch shirt. Now, Demolition Ranch is a YouTube channel, much like mine, probably the biggest firearms channel on the internet. And Demo does great stuff. I mean, the point I'm trying to make is if you're wearing a Demo Ranch shirt, you're probably leaning towards the Republican side, right? So why on earth would you wear that shirt to go and assassinate a political candidate? It kind of doesn't make sense. And that's something that, just let me know what you guys think about that in the comments. It's a horrible situation. I never thought something like this would happen, but when the media uses stuff like targeting and put Trump in the crosshairs, it's not inconceivable that a lone crazy person can take that as a literal meaning. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. Again, my condolences go out to the family that were affected by this, all the people that were there. Massively traumatizing event, obviously. So wishing them all the best. And again, the link to that GoFundMe is down there. I wish President Trump a speedy recovery from this. Looks like all is fine. He can also still navigate stairs even after this event, which was good to see. And it was quite impressive to see after he'd been told that the shooter had been taken down, the way he reacted to that. I think that says a lot about one's character. But I don't want to get into that. I want to stick on the sort of technical aspects of this. Very concerning that there wasn't counter snipers, you know, in this area. It really doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense that the police were told, hey, we see somebody climbing up a building with a firearm, and nothing was done. Whether that is investigate the scene or pull Trump from the stage. Concerning. Let me know what you guys think down below. I'll see you in the next video. Link to the GoFundMe. First link in the pinned comments. Cheers.